Hello everyone, welcome to DG Bytes. I am Vaibhav Gupta, your host, and today I have Raghav with me, and we are going to talk about another interesting topic today. So before we go forward, Raghav, maybe you can give your short introduction because it's a long time since we did any kind of video.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching this. Raghav been in the industry for more than 15 years in data, and it's almost like 6 to 7 months. I think me and Vaibhav have not been in jamming very well, so we're coming back with this next session. So, any questions about data, please feel free to reach out in the comment section, and I'll be happy to help you guys. Yeah.
Thanks, Raghav. So guys, today we are going to talk about uh, Apache Iceberg, and Raghav, maybe you can give you a brief overview. What is this Apache Iceberg and where it is utilized, and what are the different utilities where this can be used for different purposes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good topic. It's been around for a long time. If historically what we have seen is how data lakes are formed, that is where you can synonymize with icebergs. But before that, let me take back a little bit. Let's say earlier, what used to happen is all the data used to sit in multiple data warehouses, databases, and the traditional way of doing the flow of data was ETL. Extract your data right from databases, you transform it in the middle layer somewhere, and you load it. And after you
Right.
load it, your analytical data sets would perform your data and go for it. And later on, this
Right.
concept of big data and Hive-based databases coming, data lakes started coming in. Why did that come in? Is because of a lot of other information like streaming information, all the social media content information started coming in. So this whole
Right.
shift of the data being extracted first, loaded into a data lake, right? And then transformed later. The ELT mechanism started coming in. Iceberg was born out of the implementation at Netflix. So Netflix really initially started out like, hey, let's get all this information, get it into Parquet files, Avro files, or big text files, put it into one particular location. And after we have data, at least we have all the data at one place, right? Once we have all the data, let's transform it later on. Because what was happening is something downstream break, you have to go fix your upstream in the data transformation. So this data lake concept comes in, the data lake house concept comes in, and that is where Apache Iceberg was born. It is not a, and whatever problems were found in the Hive HDFS world, Hadoop world, were tried to be solved in the Iceberg community. And that's where Iceberg is not a database. Iceberg is not even it's a table format, to be honest. It's not a storage system. So you have to have a file. I mean, I can go deeper, but that's where the birth of Iceberg happened. That is what Iceberg is, in a nutshell. Yeah.
So, Raghav, as you mentioned about Netflix and how it is born, so
Mm-hmm.
can you give us some more examples where Apache Iceberg has been utilized and it's been really worth it, like from the traditional system to this new concept?
Yeah. So let's probably, I think I'll give a little bit of architectural update or mindset of how that works, and maybe that will help you for and help all the viewers also. So imagine you have data coming in from your systems like audio, video, and your standard tabular tables and everything. You want to analyze this data. If you want to analyze this data, you want to have the data in ACID transactions, which is your
Right.
standard database regular structure. You want to write SQL on top of it, right? Uh, but you have to catalog this information all, right? You want to store this information. Storing this information in ideal world is you can use S3 buckets in
Right.
Amazon or your ADLS stores in Azure, right? Or GCP, whatever the storage system is. So as the data is coming in the form of Parquet files, you're dumping into this S3 and your ADLS mechanism. And from there, what happens is imagine you have multiple. In fact, you know what? I have a screenshot. Let me pull that. Yeah, let's take this as an example. So if you see here, as the data files are coming in, once the data files are coming in, uh, today, what does Iceberg do is it's a metadata layer. It's not a real storage system. It's just metadata. Imagine data files coming in. What Iceberg creates is a manifest file. Yeah, let's say you have your audio data, video data, and something else, right? All of them separately coming as three different files. All these three files going into a manifest file, and that manifest file uh, has all the information in it. But what does the manifest file has? We create on top of it a manifest list. That list has all the particular tables, everything what it has. And on top of this is the catalog. You keep an Iceberg catalog. Okay, what does my manifest list have? It has a list of all files. Your question going back to how is it different from the traditional systems versus anything else? Manifest file or the manifest list has all the information for it. Let's say this day two, and this is a very good example if you see. In day two, day one, the files came in. Day two, uh, it has to keep the information what's going on from this manifest file. And let's say there are more data files coming in. So it creates one more data file. And the manifest list on day two, on your second day, it's keeping the information of your manifest file one, manifest list one, which is snapshot zero. S0 means snapshot zero. And it is also keeping the information about what is happening today, snapshot one. Let's say your loads fail and something wrong really happened. You want to go back in time. You want to time travel, right? Go back and say, oh, something happened. Let me just go to my S0 snapshot and let my loads run possibly. That is possible in Iceberg. So just immediately go back to time travel, drop this load, get the S0 snapshot, fix my loads, and just go through. Because tomorrow when the data happens, that's one. Second thing is, um, always there is no, in this whole traditional mechanism, in the Hive data store mechanism, there is nothing like schema. Whenever new partitioning used to happen, it used to be so much of a lot of pain. So one of the biggest advantages as the schema, constantly in schemas, what you have is you add a column, you remove a column, right? And when this adding a column, removing a column, the alterations happen, we have to adjust our main data loads also, right? Not required.
Right.
Schema evolution happens automatically. So Iceberg can manage the schema evolution. Anything, any change coming, you're managing the schema in the catalog, Iceberg catalog. The manifest file understands the changes and the data starts coming up. So that's one thing. Hidden partitioning. Let's say you're working on dates, but your partitioning is done on year. Example, I don't know. So it still works. I mean, the partitioning happens by itself, so that is a little bit of an advantage of that. So that kind of data. So who is a data engineer? I mean, this video specifically is a data engineer who's constantly supporting, or a data architect who wants to transform their architectures in the future, are struggling with their data strategy and want to learn. There are some, Iceberg is a good platform to start learning, at least, right? So at least dump your data there, understand your data, and from there build your standard data strategy. That's how it should go.
So we learned so much about Apache Iceberg, and I see it's very useful in different scenarios. So does this technology or platform provide an individual jobs? So let's say like there are a lot of technologies for which a companies hire developers. So does Apache Iceberg also provide these opportunities and with a good amount of salary?
Yeah, I think yes. So there, if you look at two aspects of a data engineer, one, the person who is getting data in, and the other person who is transforming the data, right? Um, Standard transformation kind of jobs. So the person data getting in, if you're able to get and form the Iceberg strategy very well, right? You have to understand the fundamentals of architecture, right? Let's say the companies are implementing Iceberg, very good. But if you don't understand how it works, how will the platform survive? So the job is how to understand Iceberg and what kind of technologies you can use to get Iceberg work. With that said, there are technologies out there who are already managing Iceberg. So you have tools like Fivetran, who does managed Iceberg. Snowflake does managed Iceberg. If you want to do your own Iceberg, you can form your own Iceberg and have Polaris catalog on top of it. So Iceberg is just a mechanism. Imagine it's like a HDFS code. nothing much,
Right.
right? You download a package. So you have downloaded a package of Python and you're executing Python. That's all, right? But Python can be used in a web application. Python can be used in a chatbot. Python can be used in whatever form, right? Similar to that, you can have an SDK, get your Iceberg implemented on your platform, and on top of it, you can put a catalog where you can view what all is going on. That is how it is. So
Right.
Polaris catalog is a very famous catalog. Every company now supports Iceberg. Every database company, because they know that the entry point has become Iceberg, and after that
Right.
transformation is SQL. Yeah. So I think the end. Another that's one job point, understanding Iceberg. So that is a very data engineering work, very data engineering work. So all data engineers who have knowledge on Iceberg is really helpful. Second part of this, like how is Iceberg data transferring to the next step? That's also, let's say you have Flink, you have Trino, you have Spark,
Right.
you have Snowflake, you have multiple different streams of data which is pulling data from Iceberg and storing in there, and so that your analytics can work. That's your next stream of data. So one is like how data gets into Iceberg is job one. Job two is from Iceberg we take data into the next level and do transformation. So if you see here, Iceberg is a middle point.
Right.
I mean, in companies architecture. So understanding both ways will help a lot of jobs. So, but yeah, data engineers who have that knowledge are used. Second, third thing is I'm still yet to explore this myself, but I think it is possible. All the AI use cases where they want to use raw data directly.
Right.
They want raw data. They really don't want transformed data. They can start hitting the API directly and start generating AI. Because AI is now what is the agentic AI system, what is working right now. Uh,
Mhm.
it can, let's say you have a Llama 7B kind of a system, right? Or a big
Right.
mechanism which has 7 billion parameters in it, right?
Mhm.
So a 7 billion parameter model can directly sit on your raw data, assuming, I
Mhm.
mean, I have never, it cannot work, but your 7 billion parameter model is directly sitting on your main raw data mechanism and it starts learning. So it can start creating more network around it and make more useful. So that's another um, industry thing which is going on right now. So let's at least get raw data and we get, rather than the standard pipeline of get the data first, get your data science right, get your machine learning right, and then start doing. You might start doing some unsupervised learning kind of situations where you can directly talk to your Iceberg. Um, I want to personally try it. I've not tried it yet, but that's my next goal where I want to just directly talk to Iceberg and see some unsupervised learning with some big models and see what kind of analytics, what kind of AI can come out of top of it. But that's
Cool.
few things in the pipeline, what's going out in the market right now. Yeah.
I think Raghav, you touched a very sensitive point here. So involving AI into this iceberg and learning a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I feel how this concept will evolve with AI would be a kind of a huge benefit for the audience. And to actually work on this, they should understand technically how it works. So I would request that we should have another video where we technically talk about all aspects of iceberg and make our audience aware about this so that they can work and see how AI can be utilized with that and can come up with a lot of evolving solutions which will help the community in a longer run.
Sure. We can do that. So I can probably um, do a video specifically like what are the top 10 things like hidden partition, time travel, it's not a storage system, and how are the architectures being built on Iceberg. And we can make, so this can be an initial introduction to the concept of Iceberg. And I can make a video. And I'll give you a couple of um, links in the chat. We can put it in the comment section. How to learn Iceberg, right? That's the next immediate thing, right? Like, how do you install it? How do you go about it? Um, what kind of technology you need to use for it to see in execution? Maybe we can do a couple of videos. Like first video will be where like we give an overview of the architecture, and the second
Right.
one is using Iceberg to get the data from point A to point B. How the catalog looks, whoever people are working on can take it forward. Yeah, I think yeah, let's do a follow up of architecture and a simple demo of how the data can come from point A to point B.
For sure. So audience, be ready that we are coming with another video with technical details and implementation about Iceberg. So keep watching our channel, and if you have any doubts, please do mention in the comments. Thank you, Raghav, for joining us and giving us brief about this Apache Iceberg. I think that is very useful for our audience. And with the next videos, where we talk about more technical aspects, will be really helpful. Thank you,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Keep watching our channel. Thank you,
Thank you
Raghav.
so, thank you so much.